Aloha from Oregon. Thank you so much for your support of Indie Agency News. And let's meet an indie agency. We take ourselves to the gateway to the Rockies, Boulder, Colorado. Schoenie, well, Jonathan Schoenberg, aka Schoenie. We're friends here, ECD and partner at TDA Boulder. Yeah, look at this. You got the stellar eyewear going per usual. I kind of like it, babe. I just kind of went into a Dennis Miller thing. That's a reference that you and I get, babe. We're going to talk ad agencies, babe. So TDA Boulder, take us back. When was the shop founded?
Shop was founded in '89 by my partner Thomas Dooley, who was a child at the time. He was 22, probably 22, and then we joined together in '98 as partners.
Okay. And so you and I are of similar age. So you had graduated college 19. So what were you doing before you jumped in on this?
New York City. I started my career as a secretary at Wells Rich Greene, which was a bad agency.
Oh yeah. Oh well,
But it was a lovely time for me, and I was fired, which was necessary for all parties. But from there, I was lucky enough to get my book together pretty quickly. And my first job was at Mad Dogs and Englishmen. Big shout out to everyone at Mad Dogs and Englishmen, which was an incredible experience. Nick Cohen was so good to me. Michael, John Soto, Hunter Hall, Susan Tracy, all still people that I think about when I do work.
Right on. I like that. So you're in Boulder. Every agency has like a list of stuff that they're very good at. But what would you say your agency is best known for?
Probably getting lucky. I think we've been super lucky. I would say our geography served us so well. When I came to Boulder, no client wanted to come here. We had to travel all the time, and Boulder kind of became this relevant place. So because of sort of tech and food and beverage and just general like healthy living, Boulder became relevant. So I'd say through that, we were able to do a lot of really good work for brands that we probably wouldn't have gotten a shot at otherwise. So yeah, that would, hopefully it's the creative that we're known for, but yeah, pretty lucky on geography.
Yeah. Healthy living.
Yeah.
Sorry. Did I just do that? Okay. Sorry. I live in Oregon, so do the math. What would you say are your top 3 core strengths? Again, agencies usually have a laundry list, but it is important to prioritize and acknowledge and recognize the 3 things 100%. that are your strengths. So what would you say they are?
I think we've always obviously prioritized creativity because that what we thought we were supposed to do as an ad agency. But strategically, Jen Coleman being our head of strategy has been unbelievable because it's the most selfless fucking human being I've ever met in a strategy. Shout out to strategists with a lot of hubris. And so Jen not having that sort of, it had to come from her, but almost this amazing way of working with us is completely unique. I would say, it is strategically driven creative. Also, we're super lucky. We've had a media department, and as a small independent agency, to have a media department for the last 15 years has been unbelievable. Just because when we're in a conversation with a client, they're like, "Are you kidding us?" We're like, "No, we have a media department." So super helpful.
Well, I was just going to say, because over those 15 years, a lot has changed. And one could argue, there's going to be various eras, right? So one could argue that a new era started maybe a few years ago. My guess is that having that experience and having that time underneath the agency's belt helps to be able to pivot a little bit quicker.
100. It's also, most agencies won't do it because it's expensive, and they need to know that clients are sticking around. And so having good tenure with clients is how we can do it. So yeah, it's been great. Mother just, made that big commitment to having a media department. A lot of the independent shops that you and I love do not have media departments. We're really lucky in that sense that we have clients that have continued with us in media for 15 years.
Yep. Let's move on to the indie tip. Why is being an indie important to the agency? And again, you've been around since 1989. Why is it important for this agency?
I think the most important part is you can make short-term decisions on a client's behalf that are mutually beneficial to you and the client long-term. And so if you're beholden to a holding company and you're giving up, 20% every month, you have to make certain financial decisions that are hard. We've probably only done 2 layoffs here in the 25 years I've been here. And then from there, I think in terms of client decisions, like we made a decision this morning. We're not going to be in quite as an ideal financial position with a new piece of business as we would have been. Holding company probably would have said, we're not going to do that. And we can do it because next year it'll be fruitful. We just have to get through this year.
Right.
So yeah, right. I'd say that, independence is fucking awesome.
There's the t-shirt.
Yeah.
You're OG, right? So OG Andy in the grand scheme, right? So there are a lot of shops that pop up. There are some that have been around for a long time and everywhere in between. Talk a little bit about your interaction with other indies and what you learn from them, and then what other indies seek from you and the people at TDA Boulder.
There's such open communication. So often we're talking to each other. Oftentimes a piece of business will come up, it'll be at another agency, and you'll call them and be like, should we stay the hell away from this? And they'll tell you to. I think there's a lot of camaraderie. We're not really battling each other. Boulder had so many independent shops not that long ago. Today we have fewer. But we suddenly noticed as a collective that we weren't competing against each other. And so I think there's a lot of open communication, a lot of support and love. I get really nice notes from other agencies and send nice notes on a regular basis about work or a win. I think at this point, maybe not 10 years ago, but at this point, everyone feels like there's enough work to go around.
Right. No, it's very true. Very true.
Yeah.
What should a brand know about working with you and the agency?
I think, and it's probably a turnoff too. And it's going to sound a little cliche, so I don't want to say it out loud. We care a lot. And I think we sometimes find clients that don't care as much as we do. And that sucks. And I think, when you're at a big shop, you're kind of okay with it. People are looking to kind of get through the year sometimes. So I would say just, a lot of it is that we really do care a lot. And we hate to lose. And so I think we feel really vested. And I think, not all clients share that. And so, we reflect on that a lot lately. We'll talk about it in new business and kind of ask the question, like, how much do you care about what you're doing?
Right. There's the New York coming out.
I would love to talk. If we're like, we don't care that much. Do you? But yeah, I think, there are people here that care so much that are not me.
Right.
I am still an angry New Yorker, and I still care, and I still hate losing. Like, winning isn't even that important. It's just the thought of losing is terrifying.
Right.
But yeah, that's a big part of it.
I get it.
Some people don't fucking care.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What have you learned from, like, you've had successes, but we all fall flat on our faces. What have you learned from that?
I would say sadness.
Right.
But I don't know. I think, we're in a unique position because we've worked with a lot of startups. We have started companies ourselves. We have worked with startups. We have seen so much failure and so much success. In the last quarter, we had 2 companies acquired by Mars for large amounts of money, one for $6 billion. I think that we've seen so many successes, but you learn from the failures. So we've made big mistakes, and I wouldn't consider, like, we had a campaign recently that made people very angry, and I can sleep with that one. We've made mistakes, but we've also been privy to a lot of business mistakes on the client side, and that helps. So I think sometimes when we're talking to companies, we can honestly say that based on 3 other experiences with other clients would be a horrible thing to do. We just did it. A client that's very premium wanted to talk about value, and I had dinner with the 2 people that lead their business to be like, I think that's a horrible idea. And they were open to that, because we've seen people do that in the premium category, and then you don't know where to go.
Right. No, and that's a learned trait.
Yeah.
That is a learned trait for sure. Let's go to talent. So Boulder, great place. Colorado's a great place to live. Went to college there. So I get it. I get it. Not for everybody, but
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, same with Portland, not necessarily for everybody. But why should talent put TDA Boulder on their list of consideration? And you can cut this up like young talent, seasoned
Yeah, no,
talent.
and that's a cut too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I
right.
would almost, we hired a CD this year that's absolutely phenomenal, and she missed producing work on a regular basis and quickly. And she was able to do that right as she rolled in the door. There's not a ton of bureaucracy here. I would say though, I will still encourage young people I know to go to big shops or small shops based on kind of what they want career wise. But you want to produce work. And so for young people here, they can talk to other young people and hear that they rolled in, produced work, got recognition, produced more work, produced more work. I think the jobs you stay in are the jobs that you could leave at any time because you're making good work. So I think we want to make as much good work as possible, and do so with as much regularity. And so I think that's the draw. So one of the things that actually does get in the way is our geography. We think everyone wants to live here and have, all this access to recreation.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that are like, nah, I'm good. I want to be in a metropolitan area. These days, we're in the office once a week. A lot of agencies are doing it differently. We can hire people from different parts of the country. We like people to live here. It's nice to see them on Wednesdays, but I would say that again, we're really committed to making good work. Our clients are committed to good work, and that's the draw. And hopefully we're decent human beings. We're not awful people.
Right. Well, and again, I take a look at a place like Boulder, and yeah, it's not Chicago, it's not LA, it's not New York, Minneapolis. Also interesting winters there. But I'm a big believer in vibe, right? And so the vibe in Boulder is different. The vibe in Boulder and in Colorado is different. I have to think that seeps into how you and the agency nurture talent. So how do you approach nurturing and growing talent?
I would say patience, like profound patience. I think people were patient with me. I referenced where I started my career, and I thought I was fantastic, and I was a horrible creative. I think that I see people hire young people and then say, we're not going to hire juniors anymore. It's too much work. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it doesn't click for a little while. And I think that there's such a big transition these days from the learning centers of advertising, be that a state school or a post-college portfolio school. And I think people have to have some patience, and everyone had patience with us. So I think the assumption now is you spent so much time and money. When I entered the business, I would say 50% of people went to Portfolio Center or Creative Circus. The other came a different way. A lot of us were assistants. I was a secretary. I like to say secretary. That's what I was. Today, 100% of people pretty much come from ad programs, like real schools. And so our assumption is that they can come in and work. Our assumption here is that we're going to need some patience. And you always get pleasantly surprised. There's a mid-level writer here right now, blows me away on a regular basis and did not start great. And I would say it within the room and she'd nod her head. So yeah, I'd say patience. People need more patience. Everyone wants that instant gratification these days, including myself. And I don't know if that's always realistic.
Read my first articles at the Drum and Ad Week, and there you go. It happens to all of us at every stage of our career. Hashtag patience. Hashtag CBD Boulder. CBD is plentiful.net. Little thought experiment we like to do. There's marketers out there. There's CMOs out there that, they have tough jobs. Whether they're an existing client or somebody you'd like to work with, maybe, perhaps, who is a CMO or marketer that you want to say hello to?
You and I were talking at the beginning of this session about what you're doing, which I find really interesting. Elevating and bringing together indie agencies, the timing's never been better. I don't think that it would have been a relevant conversation 5 years ago. The three people, and I would include you in this group, that I have love for right now are Pete Carter and Lindsay Slaby, because first of all, they're getting rid of, they're working towards the no pitch.
Mm-hmm.
We spend so much money on pitches, and these days we're saying no to a lot of pitch situations. We're just not going to do it. If they can make it agency friendly, we'll look at it, because it's just not, it's not helpful to either party. And we know that. And they're connecting a lot of independent agencies, and in Lindsay's case, some non-independent agencies with the right clients, which I think you're doing in a different way. And so rather, there are tons of CMOs that we work with that I adore, and tons of CMOs I'd like to work with. But if I was going to take the moment to say thanks, it's really to those two people and what you're doing here. I think that there's a place for it now. And I do think that you have, how many great independents do you think are in the country? You have a better sense of it than I do.
More than 12? No, there's hundreds, there's thousands of them.
Well, it's
just
in terms of independents that are really doing good work.
Yeah,
different
hundreds.
number.
Yeah,
it's like, what I love about what they're doing is they're finding the folks that aren't, are doing something so specific.
No, and I was just going to say that, because everybody tries to look at this as so wide. If there's an agency in Peoria, Illinois, that's doing one thing really well, and they're able to, that matters. I mean, it absolutely matters, because there are more agencies doing that than anything else. And I think that's cool. And I think there's a great deal of empathy about that, because somebody who saw something from Peoria, Illinois, who may be a copywriter in Kansas City, might look at that and be like, oh yeah, I get that.
Let's back at it. I was just on a call with somebody from Mullen. Everyone forgets this. I don't think Mullen was a nautical agency. I don't know if nautical is the right term. Mm-hmm. They were an agency for boats.
Right.
If we go back to when Thomas and I first became partners, we did all recreation. Everything was recreation. It was all snowboarding,
right?
Fly fishing, bikes. There's an agency in, I'm sure in Minnesota right now that just does agriculture and does it incredibly well. And they'll find that agency. Mm-hmm. And I think that's dope. I think that, it was really exhausting when folks like yourself, not you particular, but publications, like when, some of your colleagues at Adweek and Drum would be like, what do you guys, what do you specialize in? And every new business conversation was, what are you guys actually good at? That's luckily gone away. Because if you said that you were a full service agency, it absolutely confused them. But I love the fact that there's so many independents doing different things.
Right.
And sort of that people like yourselves are celebrating that, and not just on size, but on just independence. Dan Wyden, rest in peace. The last time I was with him, he was literally saying that these holding companies are dinosaurs, fuck them. And I love that. Yeah. I just think independent agencies, after a period of time, we really believe that not being under somebody's thumb is this tremendous thing. And I think it's great. Yep. And so I just appreciate those guys and yourself celebrating it.
No, I appreciate that. I'm just hearing from a producer, non-existent producer in my ears. Yep. Schoenie is the clubhouse leader for Mensch of the Year. Okay. We got that. Schoenie.
He should shut the fuck up.
No. Mensch of the Year. That's coming at the end of the year. But no, seriously, man, always good to catch up with you. I will likely be in Colorado again during hockey season. Go Pioneers, University of Denver. Thanks for joining us, man. And we'll see you soon.
Great to hang out. Have a great rest of your day.